You are watching this video to learn about how the Consumer Guarantees Act 1993 can have a significant effect on your business and how it influences your policies. This video will cover the implications of the Consumer Guarantees Act and how it provides a set of standards called guarantees that your business is required to meet. The Consumer Guarantees Act guarantees are written into legislation and have legal repercussions if the guarantees are not met. The Consumer Guarantees Act is fundamentally important in protecting people's rights as a consumer when making purchases. The Act applies to all people when you purchase goods or services for personal use from sellers that are in trade. The Act applies to all patrons who are acquiring goods or services for personal, household, or domestic use or consumption. This does include businesses, as long as the goods or services are acquired for personal domestic use and are not to be resupplied, consumed in the course of production, or used to repair other goods. The definition of a consumer is a person which includes companies that ordinarily acquires goods or services for personal, domestic, or household use or consumption. Ordinarily acquired can be defined as gaining by purchase, exchange, hire purchase, gift, or purchase of a lease. For a company to be a consumer that is covered under the Consumer Guarantees Act, it must purchase its goods for personal or domestic use.
As a consumer, there needs to be certain guarantees put in place in order to ensure that they are treated fairly and receive an adequate product or service that is worth the money they paid. There is different guarantees that are set in place depending on the type of supplier. For retailers, for example, the product must be of acceptable quality, fit for its intended purpose, match the description and model, and be set at a reasonable price. For the manufacturer, they must have spare parts available to be able to fix goods at a reasonable time. They must honour warranties, the goods must be of acceptable quality, and they must match their description. In regards to service, providers, they must perform the service with reasonable skill and care. The service must be fit for its intended purpose, be completed in a reasonable time frame, and be priced reasonably. There are remedies that have been set in place and were introduced as a way to protect consumers. If they have a problem with the product, there is a remedy solution. The first remedy being that the manufacturer can fix the product. There is an option of which the product can be taken from the consumer and the manufacturer can do what they can in order to fix it. This remedy is less common in New Zealand, as generally manufacturers are not located here. Therefore, the next remedy is a replacement. They can offer the consumer a new product that is exactly the same as the old one, but hopefully without the problem. And the last remedy, and usually the most common remedy, is they can offer a customer a full refund, where they get all their money back. This is common, as customers do not want a replacement, as their trust in the product has been lost.
It is possible to contract out of the Consumer's Guarantee Act. However, this may only be done on a business-to-business transaction and is not applicable for business-to-consumer transactions. To be able to contract out of the Consumer's Guarantee Act, firstly, both parties in the transaction must be in trade. Secondly, the agreement must be in writing, and both parties must be fully aware that contracting out of it. And finally, the terms of the contract must be fair and reasonable for both of the parties involved. There are practical consequences of the Consumer's Guarantee Act. One element is the penalties your enterprise can face if you attempt to contract out of the Act with the consumer. This becomes a breach of the Fair Trading Act, which can carry penalties for individuals of up to $200,000 and penalties for companies of up to $600,000. Another element is what can happen if you breach the Consumer Guarantee Act and cannot come to an agreement with the customer privately. The consumer can take the issue to either the disputes tribunal or the district court. Because you want to retain your business's reputation, it is best to solve the problem early on and not let media get wind of the issue. These consequences mean you must uphold a standard for your goods and services. After watching this video, I hope you have learnt the key aspects about the Consumer's Guarantee Act 1993 and how it can affect your small and medium enterprise. We have covered who it applies to, what defines a customer, how it is possible to contract out of the Act, and the practical implications of the Act. Thank you for listening.